Hey everyone, Happy New Year, welcome to 2023, welcome to the channel. I did my Marvel Legends top 10 figures of 2022, now I am moving on to my top 10 figures of DC Multiverse in 2022. Now, the figures you see right here didn't make the list, but these are my honorable mentions. These were figures I thought that were very close to getting into the top 10, but maybe just some small drawbacks. But with these figures, I had Zod, John Constantine, Joker, and Man-Bat. I think these were really great figures. There was just something always kind of holding them back. Man-Bat especially. I feel like Man-Bat should have included alternate arms, one where it could be expanded wings. And I also feel like McFarlane should have came up with a flight stand for the character. I mean, obviously he didn't make it to be intended that way because these weren't really flight designed wings for Man-Bat. This is where he's at a standard pose. But I put a Storm collectible stand. It manages to hold the figure up very, very well. Like, just make sure you guys don't think I'm cheating or anything with covering up with Zod. But that was a figure I think that really would have been on my top 10 list if McFarlane just made some alternate arms to have expanded wings and come with a bigger flight stand for those mega figures. Alright, at the top of this list, number 10 is Black Adam from the movie Black Adam. Now, obviously, say what you will about the movie, whether you liked it or you didn't, the figure itself had an amazing sculpt. And if you look at the head sculpt, it just looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There's no denying that. And when you look back at what McFarlane has done with their movie characters like John Cena, Idris Elba, Robert Pattinson, like, all of those actors, zero resemblance to what they actually looked like. But this figure, I think, was the first one that we can say, hey, this really does look like the actor. Obviously, we might not see a Dwayne Johnson Black Adam movie in 10 years or even ever again, and maybe we just see a recasting. Who knows what's going to go on there? But you have to admit, McFarlane did do a great job with this figure. Number 9, the Dark Knight Returns Batman figure. Now, this one came out very early in the year. If I remember correctly, it was like January. But this figure, you know, it had a really nice bulkiness to the character, and it really just looks like it was ripped out from the comics. And when I looked at my old Mattel versions, I was just like, yeah, McFarlane knocked this one out of the ballpark. Number 8 is Deathstorm. Now, the Blackest Night Wave was definitely one of my favorites from McFarlane, like, ever. You know, I'm a big fan of the Blackest Night storyline. So, of course, there was going to be some Blackest Night figures in here. Deathstorm, I think, had a fantastic sculpt, had a great head sculpt. There was some small things that, you know, you could say to improve the figure. But from everything McFarlane has been putting out, you know, you could say pretty much about everything. Deathstorm, though, I just think was absolutely amazing. And I hope that McFarlane intends to make way, way more Blackest Night figures and expand on that collection there. Coming in at number 7 is the Penguin from Batman Arkham City. Now, when I looked at those figures that McFarlane did with Arkham, you know, some were better than others, but the Penguin, I think, was much, much better, and it had a lot more articulation. You could do a little bit more with the figure. I really just enjoyed it more. He doesn't come with a cigar like you see him holding right there. That was from the original Penguin, but it was able to hold on to it and make that possible. You can't remove the hat, which was always a downside, but, you know, I think when you just look at the figure, I just love the detail. I love the articulation. This was definitely a figure we really needed to see get remade. Next is the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. This was the Target exclusive, a much more better figure than the previous release that came out with the Blackest Night Wave. This one was definitely a little bit harder to get, but I just love that design. It was definitely a design I think a lot of people wanted to see. It wasn't the easiest thing to get, but, you know, it was a great figure to see McFarlane make. Entering at number 5 is Necron. Now, this figure, I just absolutely loved it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Blackest Night, so this was going to get on my list. Now, I did cheat a little bit here because if you can see, I did include some chains around him or for his neck, which I was trying to match as close as possible to how it appears in the comics. Since McFarlane didn't come with that, that was a downside for the figure. I think it was a great figure overall. And with that little modification, it makes it a million times better. Wasn't trying to count that towards why it's on my list, but seeing the head sculpt, the hearts, everything that McFarlane created with this one, I really think was great. You just need to finish up a few other things, like finishing the boots and stuff like that. Number 4, Asbat, the Walmart exclusive that was a pain in the ass to get. I will say that. That was probably the hardest figure to get this year, next to Parallax. I think those two were definitely the worst. But I love this Asbat. I think it was a great classic look. Definitely got that nice bright blue, gold. It's just a really nice classic looking figure. It sucks that McFarlane's making the ones you really want as the hardest to get, but you can at least enjoy what the figure is. Okay, number 3 for me is Bane. Now, Bane, I think, was a great figure to get. It was definitely a preferred version that we got. I know McFarlane did a Bane the year prior, and that one wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what people really wanted to see. This one, you get more of a classic-looking Bane figure. It's a definite beautiful sculpt. You have great leg articulation. The arm articulation wasn't really 100%, but you did get this beautiful sculpt around this figure all the way around. Number 2, this is me kind of cheating a bit because it's 2 figures for number 2, and that is the Booster Gold and Blue Beetle 2-pack. Now, these two guys are just beautiful looking. They look like they're just ripped out from the comics. I mean, this is such a nice classic look, and it's so simple. I know it's like nothing crazy, but when you just go with something so simple and really bring out like a classic look to these characters, it just really shows how much they really pop well compared to other figures. I think that this was a nice combo set. They had a figure stand that they shared, which was a nice throw-in. I think these are figures that were like nicely packed together, and I hope McFarlane does do more of that. I hope to see some more characters that are terrific pairs to see as a 2-pack. And, I think they were highly underrated. I know it's cheating to put them at 2 together, but I think they just kind of go hand in hand together. My number 1 figure is the big bad red dude, Atrocitus. Now, Atrocitus, I am a huge fan of. This is my main character in Injustice 2. This is my favorite Lantern in general. This was a fantastic figure. It doesn't have too much paint detailing, but you get that simplicity of that figure. It's just hey, this is a Red Lantern, nice and red. I think this was a nice giant figure. It's scaled so well. This is like a behemoth. He's just fantastic to see. I wish there was a few other things, like being able to have swappable hands, maybe a Red Lantern, maybe a alternate head sculpt. I think that could have been great for it too. But when you look at this figure, I just fall in love with him over and over again. This was by far the best Build-A-Figure McFarlane has done. And, of course, he was a part of the best wave McFarlane has done, in my opinion, Blackest Night. So, with this figure, it was definitely a must to be on this list. He was a figure, I think, that a lot of people really did love. It for people who are Green Lantern fans, who love Blackest Night, who want to see those characters get made. This was definitely the right direction McFarlane has gone. This is an amazing looking figure. I'm happy to have him in my collection. I'm happy to see that he's being recognized and made. I'm glad I didn't have to wait for years and years for this figure to come. So that is it. This is my top 10 figures, 11 if you really wanted to count Booster Gold and Blue Beetle separate. But these figures were fantastic to get from McFarlane. I think he did make a wider range of options this year compared to the first 2 years. I think that we've gotten some great figures, and I'm praying in 2023 we're going to get some more Blackest Night, some more classic looks. I really hope McFarlane keeps that up. Definitely am excited about what we will get in the future. Let me know what you guys think. Tell me, who are your top 10 DC Multiverse figures in 2022? Were any of these guys in your list, or who was not? And who do you want to see come in 2023? So, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you guys for who does keep coming back. I do appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. You know, I really do appreciate that support from you guys. So thank you guys, and I will see you all in my next video.